Good evening, everyone. My name is Christian Nash Beas, and thank you for being here today. So the name of this book is Global Environmental Decolonization. After the Second World War, there were many global institutions that emerged in the world, as the IMF, the World Bank, and the United Nations. And each of them, they have their own agenda, but they follow a common global agenda. So in this case, we have here the Sustainable Development Goals. And for this research, I'm going to focus on the climate action that is a 13th global goal. And the time delimitation here, so as you can observe, there are three main arguments for this research. The first argument is that according to Marshall, we are in the fourth wave, that is the environmental rights. And according to Samuel Huntington and Berman and Boyks, we are in the third wave for democracy. This means that professional SMOs have more influence in the nation states in order to push political policies. And in figure 5, as you can observe, according to Marshall McLuhan, we are in a period of time that we have more access to information. The problem statement or the research question, as you can see in the general question, is there influence on decolonization on the research that the professional SMOs use during the period of 2000 to 2015? And the specific question is, which of those resources are used more or less in countries that are facing global warming issues? And the hypothesis is, if the degree of decolonization of those countries have influence in the resources of the SMOs during the period of 2000 to 2015. It's very common that scholars focus on the political and the economic dimensions in order to research the development of the nation states, mainly on the economic perspective. But in this case, if we use the professional social movement organization, so it's more focused on the social dimension. So there is a gap on the contemporary literature. By this, in this case, it's going to be focused on the global political economy. So it's going to be used two theories. The first theory that is going to be used is the colonial origins theory from Acemoglu, Johnson, and Robinson in 2005. And the second theory is the resource mobilization theory of McCarthy and Salt in 1973. The colonial origins theory comes, the historicity, from the historic materialism and Fernand Braudel in the book of the Mediterranean. And after that, we have his disciple, that is the war system of Immanuel Wallerstein. And after that, we have what it is, the post-Marxism, the capitalist system, the political economy of globalization. And with this, we have the colonial origins theory. But this theory is not absolute, it's relative, and it has some critiques. As Joaquín Arango from El Colegio de la Frontera Norte argues, has a bias of reality, and because it generalized the countries and makes it unidirectional history. Also, Hannah Arendt, Karl Jaspers, and Joaquín Arango argues that these kind of theories create an historical reductionism. And by the way, according to Hidalgo and Correa and the United Nations, exists three types of environmental problems, and also according to Kenneth Waltz in The Men's State and the War, they are the macro, meso, and micro. So in this case, in this research, is going to be focused only on the global environmental problems. And there are 6 types of global environmental problems, but for this research, it's only focused on global warming. And the second theory is the resource mobilization theory that comes from John Stuart Mill, from the utilitarianism and the collective action of Karl Marx, the institutionalism of Max Weber, and the neo-institutionalism of DiMaggio and Powell. But this theory also is not absolute, also is relative. So according to Cohen, it does not focus on the socioeconomic structures, and Puricelli argues that it does not consider the popular discontent. And Melucci, this Italian scholar, argues that, or critiques this theory, that it does not pay attention to the deeper dimensions of society and only focus on the visible aspects. So the 5 variables, and each variable of the colonial origins theory from Acemoglu, Johnson, and Robinson has its own indicator. As you can see here in figure 13, we have the first variable, that is the global development classification, and its indicator, that is institutional development. And the second variable, that is the market economy, and the indicator is the GDP per capita purchasing power parity. The third variable is the global influence, and its indicator is the total votes in the World Bank. The fourth variable is the epistemological dualism of colonizers, and its indicator is the mortality rate of the colonizers. And the fifth indicator is the resource distribution, and its indicator is if it is extractive or inclusive society. So in this research, it has been selected 3 countries, 3 nation states, that is Argentina, Chile, and Brazil. So we have here the hard data for Argentina, for Chile, and its hard data using the colonial origins theory from Acemoglu, Johnson, and Robinson. And also here we have the hard data for Brazil using the same theory. Now, using the second theory, that is the resource mobilization theory from McCarthy and Salt, it has been selected 3 global campaigns that were during the period of 2000 to 2015 in these 3 countries, and 2 professional SMOs that are Greenpeace and the World Wildlife Fund. And the resources that these 2 professional SMOs use during that period of time. But the resources that were selected are global resources that had an impact or influence in the micro level. So as you can see here, Greenpeace used these resources during that period of time, and the World Wildlife Fund used those resources. This is in Argentina, and the global campaign is the forest protection in the Gran Chaco. And in Chile, in the Alomaiza mega project, we have here the 2 professional SMOs with its own resources that were used during the period of 2000 to 2015. And for Brazil, the 2 professional SMOs that were during that period of time in the global campaign, that is the deforestation freelance. As you can see in table 7, we have the variables, the proxy indicators for the global political economy, that in other words is the description of those indicators, the type of indicator, the value of the indicator, that in this research it has been used a Gaussian percentile parameter, and the sources that in where this hard data was got. And the parameters that were used, it's based on the hard data that was obtained for Brazil, Chile, and Argentina using a Gaussian percentile parameter, and where we have the 5 indicators and the 5 variables, and where it was considered that is very high, medium, low, and very low. And using the global decolonization, and that is pretty much the global political economy, so it has been made a formula using the 5 variables divided by 5. And with this, it has been made a specific formula using the 5 indicators divided by 5. On the other side, we have the general resources that are the variables for the resource mobilization theory, and the specific resources that are the indicators that were used. But in this research, the motor resource, it was not used by the 2 professional SMOs. That's why here we only see the social organization, human, material, and cultural. In this case, it has been made an index. So we have the general formula, that is the collective net index, that is pretty much in the part of the theory, that how it's said, using the 5 variables divided by 5. But because the motor resource was not used in these 3 cases, it has been made a collective net index adjusted using only the 4 variables divided by 4. Having these two formulas, now to answer the general and the specific questions and the hypothesis, it has been used a student's t distribution, in where if the value of t is greater than the significance, then the null hypothesis is rejected. And if the value of t is lower than the significance, then the null hypothesis is accepted. And the significance, if it is lower than plus 0.90, then the alternative hypothesis is accepted. And if the significance is greater than plus 0.90, then the null hypothesis is accepted. With this, it has been made a system for global environmental decolonization. In the blue part, as we can see, that is Argentina. Using the formula, we have a global political economy of 0.68. That is the degree of decolonization of that country during the period of 2000 to 2015. And it has a collective net index adjusted of 1.0, that is the quantity of resources that the professional SMOs use during that period of time. And in the semi-periphetic, that is the red part, we have Chile with 0.64, that is the global political economy, that is the degree of decolonization of that country, with a collective net index adjusted of 1.0. And in the semi-periphetic, we have a 0.52 of the degree of decolonization, with a collective net index adjusted of 0.78. And with this, just to finish, we have the arithmetic means for the decolonization using the 3 nation states selected in this research, with a 61.33, and the 2 professional SMOs during their global campaigns in those 3 nation states, we have an 83.33. And to respond the hypothesis, the general and the specific questions with the student's t distribution, we have a 2.6766 that is greater than the significance, and we have a significance of 0.08 that is lower than plus 0.90. So with this, we can conclude that the alternative hypothesis is accepted. And just to finish, I would like you to finish with this quote that is, "Decolonize for a greener future." Thank you for your attention.